Hi everybody, this is Jarrell and we're here at the 4th Roadmap Conference, and who am I here with today?
My name is Marshall McGrady. I'm the political director for IBEW Local 48. We represent electrical workers in Northwest Oregon and Southwest Washington. We have about 5,500 members in our construction department. Things we do is we do electrical vehicle and electrical vehicle infrastructure.
So I'm here with James. Can you tell us a little bit about EVBox and how you're involved with this company?
EVBox is a global leading provider of electric vehicle charging solutions. In simple terms, we manufacture charging stations and we offer software to help support the operation of those machines. We have over 500,000 chargers installed in over 70 countries, and we've been in North America since 2017, and we're continuing to scale up our operations here.
I'm here with Eric Fosgard. Can you tell us a little bit about Tulip and what your company does?
So I worked with the Oregon Department of Transportation for 30 years. The problem that I saw with transit, there was a big vehicle, a bus or a light rail. It only operates to full capacity for about 5 hours out of the day, 2.5 in the morning, 2.5 in the evening. The rest of the time, really not much in the way of ridership. Transit is really hurting. There's not many people riding it right now. The light rail is an electric vehicle. It's powered by electricity. And if you have just 25 people, they can all fit in the front part of the train, and then you could dedicate the back part of the train to loading cargo. I've invented a process for loading and unloading quickly so nobody gets delayed. People can ride with goods.
Can you discuss the potential job creations due to the growth of the EV industry?
When we used to be really busy, and I mean kind of booming economic times here in Oregon, we would put through about 150 apprentices in a year. Currently, we are maxed out at 300 electricians a year, and we're looking to potentially expand our training center up in the Portland area to a larger facility to take in even more apprentices.
What initiatives are in place to ensure equitable access in the EV industry?
There's quite a few, actually. There's a lot of federal incentive money available from the Biden administration, specifically focused on charging installation and access in less fortunate communities or underserved communities. There's also a plethora of state-specific and local legislative initiatives aimed at that as well. Chicago, for example, which is where our company is headquartered, we have an initiative that we're currently working on with the governor's office to help install chargers in underserved communities across Illinois.
The opportunities in the electrical industry right now are overwhelming, and it's not just EVs, it's pretty much anything related to renewables. With all the federal money and state money that's available, there's going to be ample opportunity for someone in the skilled trades. That also opens up doors in other skilled trades that are out there, so folks like iron workers and cement masons and your general people in the sheet metal industry, etc. Lots of opportunity out there for skilled tradespeople. So really for a ton of folks, this is going to open up new pathways to really excellent paying jobs with health benefits, retirements, and really some financial security for the future.
There's incredible job growth opportunity because the EV industry and enabling the transition to electric mobility involves many different facets of industry across the country and the world, actually. There's the manufacturing, which is what we're involved in on the hardware side, actually building the chargers to help support all the electric vehicles. Automotive manufacturers, for example, they're scaling up their recruitment efforts both on the production but also on the office side with employees that need to determine what company strategies are going to look like, things like that. And let's not forget the installers. So there's a huge boom in the electrical field where trained certified electricians and installers are needed to install all these chargers to charge all these cars. So from my perspective, the job growth opportunities are really endless when it comes to building up and enabling the transition to electric mobility in this country.
So I'm here with Jeff Allen. So Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about this conference and how you're involved here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Executive Director of 4th, and we've been putting on this Roadmap Conference since about 2010, so over a decade now. And it's a place where leaders from across the electric mobility industry and really the whole ecosystem come together to talk about how we're going to move things forward and what do we learn from each other and what still needs to be done.
Symbia, can you tell us a little bit about this conference and how you're involved here?
I am the events manager at 4th, and 4th, we are a local nonprofit trade association convening people together to bring equitable access to transportation. We have 5 focus areas, which are our access to emerging modes. You can see our tractor behind us, and we are working to bring together different opportunities, whether it's farming or whether it's electric school buses, on different viability options options for electric vehicles. The Roadmap Conference brings together everyone in the ecosystem of electric transportation, from our policymakers to our auto manufacturers to our charging infrastructure, whether that is software or hardware, coming together, convening over what are the key things we should be discussing as an industry that is going to advance the industry, in the sense of how are we talking about charging, how are we talking about Justice 40, how are we talking about federal funding that is coming to communities, and how are we making sure that that is accessible, and how are we creating an ecosystem that eventually the consumers will reap the rewards of affordable electric transportation.
What initiatives are in place to ensure equitable access in the EV industry?
Yeah, that's a huge question, and it's a real focus for us at Fourth and for this conference. Lots to say there, but maybe I break it down and say I think a lot of us believe that centering equity and centering the folks who have the most barriers to accessing this new technology is really the best way to move the whole industry forward. You know, aside from being the right thing to do, that we've got to not repeat the history using transportation investments and transportation projects as tools for racial oppression and division, but it's also just a better growth model for the industry as a whole.
There are a lot of initiatives currently right now coming through the federal funding, through IIJA, through Justice 40. At Fourth, we utilize the targeted universalism method when we talk about transportation electrification. We want to make sure the communities that are most impacted by the injustice of the transportation system are the first that we take access for the charging infrastructure grants, and also any opportunity that's available. So we have rebate programs, we have a lot of opportunities for people that are in low-income, disenfranchised communities have the information about the technology.
Can you discuss the potential job creations due to the growth of the EV industry?
There are definitely a lot of jobs right now with all of the federal funding. First of all, there are a lot of jobs created in the market for program managers, folks that are going to be assisting people in getting the grants into their community. And we also have opportunities with workforce development. What is the new workforce of transportation? We no longer might need maintenance in the sense of you're getting your oil change every so often, but what other type of infrastructure, electrician, those types of jobs, apprenticeship that are happening with the industry. This is a new industry that is booming, so we want to make sure that there are different opportunities.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a lot of industries are being impacted by this, especially in a positive way. You know, things from tech, engineering to those trades like electric, so on and so forth. So that's very impactful, you know, to, you know, communities like Portland. So I have one last question for you, Jeff. Where do you think the EV industry will be in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a couple of things. One is everything that moves is going electric. So, you know, we talk a lot about cars and those are going electric, but also like you're seeing more and more electric bikes around town and those are taking off like crazy. But right in front of us here, we've got an electric tractor, and Fourth owns a couple of these that we're testing around the state. We're seeing electric school buses, electric transit buses, electric airplanes, boats. Pretty much if it moves and it's running on a gas engine now, it's going to be electric. And if not, in the next 5 years, it's going to be coming. So that's one big thing. Just looking at the car front, though, a lot of states like Oregon have really ambitious targets now for all, and not just targets, it's a legally enforceable law that all new cars sold are going to be electric in the next decade or so. You're going to, you know, by 5 years from now, you're going to be probably close to a third or more of cars are going to be electric. So you're going to start to see a huge shift at that point. You know, and back to our earlier point, that's part of what we're really worried about or really focused on is you don't want, you know, those old gas guzzling cars to get dumped into low-income communities of color, right? And especially if gas is getting more expensive, gas stations are harder to come by, right? So we want to make sure that we're trying to challenge that pattern and make sure that folks have access to this technology and don't get left behind.
That's great, and you know, we're excited to see the future of EV, and we're excited to see how it impacts our communities with work, with sustainability, economically. So thank you for taking the time to speak with us and giving us your insight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
nice talking with you.